The 1980s was an era of bold fashion, innovative technology, and unforgettable entertainment. It was a time when music videos took over the airwaves, arcade games filled the streets, and the magic of Blockbuster made movie nights extraordinary. Let us dive into our curated collection of nostalgic moments that will transport you back to the greatest decade ever. Get ready to reminisce about the iconic symbols of the 1980s that continue to resonate with us today. These coin-eating machines tested your reflexes as you tried to save the world. When you think of the 1980s, images of these coin-hungry monsters might pop into your head. Whether it was Pac-Man, Space Invaders, or Galaga, arcade games were a significant part of the decade's culture. The thrill of inserting coins one after another, the mesmerizing blips and bloops of the games echoing in your ears, and the friendly competition with friends to see who could get the highest score. These games weren't just about entertainment. They were a social experience, a test of skill, and a shared obsession that united many. Remember the countless hours spent trying to beat your high score, or the disappointment when someone else beat yours. These arcade games were more than just entertainment. They were a shared experience that captured the spirit of the times. This magical movie kingdom was where you started your weekend plans. Blockbuster, the iconic blue and gold storefront, was a portal to cinematic adventures. Imagine walking into a store filled with rows upon rows of VHS tapes promising untold stories and exciting worlds. The hunt for the perfect movie to watch became part of the fun. The anticipation of reading through the synopsis, deciding between comedy, action, or adventure, and then taking home a treasure trove of cinematic joy. Blockbuster wasn't just about renting movies. It was about the experience, the hunt, the discovery, and the shared tradition of family movie night. And now let's move on to the next part of the video. Are you ready to travel back in time to the era of big hair and bigger dreams? If you grew up in the 80s or just have a thing for all things retro, we've got a treat for you. Here are some more things from the 80s that will definitely trigger your nostalgia. Remember when music videos ruled the airwaves and MTV was the place to be? Well, here's a fun fact for you. The first music video ever played on MTV was Video Killed the Radio Star by the Buggles. Talk about irony. And who could forget the cultural phenomenon that was the Rubik's Cube? This colorful puzzle had us scratching our heads for hours on end. But hey, at least it gave us something to do before Netflix, right? The classic coin-operated games. We spent countless hours, and probably a small fortune trying to beat our high scores. And let's not forget about the one and only Jane Fonda. Her workout videos were the fitness craze, and she totally rocked those leotards and leg warmers. Remember when the whole world went crazy over this guy? Well, if you do, you're not alone. Michael Jackson's Thriller was a cultural phenomenon that had us all moonwalking like crazy. And let's not forget the king of bling himself, MC Hammer. This rapper was known for his flashy style and iconic dance moves. We couldn't help but bust a move whenever You Can't Touch This came on. From arcade games to aerobics, the 1980s had its own unique charm. What are your thoughts? Which things from the 1980s do you miss the most? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. And don't forget to like and share this video with others who may want to join in on a nostalgia trip. Thanks for watching and happy reminiscing. The year is 1984. You're sitting at home watching a music video on your brand new VCR. But which format did your friend just pop into the machine? Was it beta or VHS? Let us take a trip back to the days when you had to choose your side in the great format war. In the late 1970s and early 80s, the videotape formats battled for dominance, Betamax from Sony and VHS from JVC. Sony had an early start, introducing Betamax in 1975, but JVC quickly entered the market with VHS in 1977. Although Betamax offered higher quality, people preferred VHS because the tapes were cheaper and could record for longer. Despite the convenience, Betamax was technically superior. It had a smaller, lighter tape that spun at 7 inches per second, whereas VHS used a larger tape that spun at 3 inches per second. This meant Betamax could capture more information on its tape, resulting in sharper images and better sound. Many purists argue that Betamax produced a clearer picture with more accurate colors and less noise, plus, it offered better slow motion and frame freeze capabilities. In short, if you valued picture quality above all else, Betamax was the way to go. However, VHS had some advantages of its own. For starters, the tapes were cheaper, costing about half as much as Betamax. Also, the recording time was significantly longer. A VHS tape could record for up to 8 hours of standard video, while a Betamax tape could only manage 1 hour. And that's not all. The longer recording time meant that VHS had a better signal-to-noise ratio, resulting in cleaner recordings of lower light sources. Even though Betamax was technically superior, VHS won the hearts and wallets of consumers. By the mid-1980s, it had taken over the market, and by 1987, it controlled 90% of U.S. video recorder sales. In the end, convenience triumphed over quality, giving us the technology we have today. But the 80s weren't just about technological advancements. They also gave birth to some unforgettable music. Glam metal emerged as a massive cultural force during the early to mid-1980s. Bands like Mötley Crüe, Bon Jovi, and Poison took the world by storm with their flashy fashion, big hair, and even bigger anthems. This genre of music became the soundtrack to a generation, capturing the wild, carefree spirit of the era, from the Sunset Strip to the global stage. Glam metal became synonymous with the 80s. And let's not forget the iconic board game that brought families and friends together. Trivial Pursuit was created in 1979 by Canadian game designer Chris Haney, released in 1981. It quickly became one of the most popular games of the decade, with its simple concept and engaging gameplay. Trivial Pursuit challenged players of all ages with general knowledge questions across 6 categories. The colorful wedges and competitive nature of the game made it a hit for gatherings. By 1986, the game had sold 20 million units, solidifying its place in 80s culture. So whether you were watching movies on VHS or battling it out in Trivial Pursuit, the 80s offered something for everyone. What are your favorite memories from that era? Share your thoughts below. Hey, do you remember when Cabbage Patch Kids dolls first came out? It seems like everyone wanted one and parents went crazy trying to find them. Those were some intense times. Well, believe it or not, those iconic dolls have officially returned. That's right. After more than 3 decades, the Cabbage Patch Kids are back and they're more adorable than ever. In case you need a refresher, these dolls were all the rage back in the early 1980s. But their popularity wasn't just because they were cute. Each doll had a unique birth certificate and adoption papers, which made it feel like you were giving a child a loving forever home. Can you imagine how special that felt? Parents lined up outside stores for hours just to get their hands on one of these dolls. And sometimes fights even broke out because of how sought after they were. It was a true toy phenomenon. The original Cabbage Patch Kids were produced between 1982 and 1995, with a brief revival in the early 2000s. But now they're back in a big way. These new dolls are being produced by the same company that brought us the original, and they're just as cuddly and lovable as their predecessors. Plus, they have modern features like rooted hair, bigger eyes, and softer skin. And if you thought the craze over Cabbage Patch Kids was over, just wait until you hear this. On the first day of release, more than 100,000 dolls were sold. That's 100,000 happy squeals and hugs. It just goes to show that the love for these dolls never faded. Instead, it grew and grew until today. But hey, remember the Brat Pack? Do you still jam out to your favorite 80s tunes? Let us know in the comments below. You know, the 1980s were an unforgettable time. From mixtapes to Walkmans, every moment was filled with fun. We remember it fondly because it was more than just a decade. It was an era of unforgettable moments, trends, and innovations. Whether it was solving a Rubik's Cube, renting a VHS tape from Blockbuster, or dancing to your favorite glam metal band, the 80s created memories that still live on today. Thanks for joining us on this trip down memory lane. And don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss an episode. We've got lots more nostalgic adventures waiting for you right here on Golden Era 7. See you next time.